The movie Malum tells the disturbing tale of Jessica Lauren, a rookie police officer who takes on the last shift at a police station slated for decommissioning, a place closely tied to her father, Captain Will Lauren, and his storied past. This station is ominously linked to a notorious cult named the Flock, presided over by the malevolent John Malum. Eager to investigate her father's disgraceful downfall and restore his name, Jessica bravely steps into the night shift to unearth the chilling truths hidden within the station's history. As the night unfolds, Jessica is plunged into a series of increasingly surreal and unsettling events. She begins to receive enigmatic phone calls from unknown numbers that seem to know personal details about her father and allude to ominous warnings connected to his past. Delving deeper into the night's mysteries, she uncovers harrowing revelations regarding her father's relentless pursuit to dismantle Malum's cult. Although Malum was believed to have been killed, his ominous presence continues to loom over the station. The cult's chilling vow, "We pray in the temple of the low god," reverberates ominously through the building as Jessica finds herself facing ghostly apparitions and encounters that suggest the malevolent energy of the cult lingers in the shadows. The police station seemingly transforms into a living entity, ensnaring Jessica in a relentless nightmare where the boundaries of time and reality intertwine. She stumbles upon evidence suggesting that Malum and his followers had engaged in terrifying rituals aimed at summoning a dark being known as the Low God. Jessica's determination is tested when she begins to confront the uncomfortable possibility that her father may have been consumed by the darkness he sought to eradicate. Previous officers and onlookers reveal that Captain Lauren had obsessively scrutinized interrogation tapes, preoccupied with the notion that Malum's influence endured far beyond his supposed demise. In one haunting recording, her father's voice warns, "Don't go into holding." John Malum is still here, confirming the supernatural grip the cult leader retains over the station. As the night wears on, Jessica's grip on her reality begins to fray. She is confronted with terrifying visions of dismembered victims, ritualistic ceremonies, and grotesque monsters associated with the cult. It becomes increasingly evident that the cult's malignant desires extend to Jessica herself. She is intended to fulfill their dark ritual and embrace the darkness she tries so hard to resist. The juxtaposition of her responsibilities as a police officer against her personal vendetta against the cult grows increasingly blurred as the night spirals deeper into horror. Amid the suffocating silence of the police station, Jessica stands trembling in a dim corridor, blood-soaked and shaken. Her reflection in a shattered interrogation room glass reveals the lasting impact of her haunting experiences. Her uniform is torn, her complexion pale, and her eyes wide with fear. An unshakable sensation of being watched lingers about her, accentuated by the fear of what lurks in the shadows. Despite her attempts to remain strong, the insidious whispers of cult members bleed through the walls, their chants intensifying with each passing moment. Gripping her father's old badge tightly, it symbolizes her intention to vindicate him against the monstrous allegations against him. Yet, doubt creeps in, nagging at her sanity. What if her father had been right all along? What if John Malum was never truly dead, and the darkness that consumed him lives on within the very station she now seeks to conquer? Jessica stepped cautiously into the holding cell area, haunted by memories of her father from the flickering images on the old surveillance tapes. The surroundings were grim, the space was devoid of life except for stark streaks of dried blood that marred the floor and walls, remnants of horrors from the past. As she navigated deeper into the dilapidated space, the air thickened with the ominous scent of decay, mingled with something sinister, something ancient lurking just out of sight. A chilling laugh reverberated through the corridor, causing her to freeze in terror. Swiftly, she turned, her flashlight flickering as it illuminated a grotesque figure emerging from the shadows. It was one of Malum's followers, clad in darkness, his face twisted into a malevolent grin, his eyes profound black voids. "You can't escape," he hissed, stepping closer. "You were chosen, Jessica." With a trembling hand, Jessica raised her gun, desperation tightening her grip. "Stay back," she shouted, her voice quaking with fear. In an aggressive lunge, the figure charged at her. Jessica pulled the trigger. The gunshot echoed in the suffocating silence, but instead of collapsing, the figure dissipated into a cloud of black smoke, whispering her name as it vanished, leaving her shaken and wide-eyed. Breathless, she stumbled back. In a panic, she pressed the radio attached to her belt. "Dispatch, do you copy? I need immediate assistance." Static buzzed in response, and amidst it, she heard a voice that sent chills down her spine. Jessica, it was unmistakably her father's voice. She could hardly believe it. "Dad," she murmured, tears brimming in her eyes. "Is that really you? Leave now, before it's too late," the voice urged, but as quickly as it came, it faded into static, leaving Jessica in a state of cold dread, alone once again. Despite feeling overwhelmed with terror, she knew she couldn't leave, not yet. She had to bring an end to what had started. With renewed determination, she made her way to the evidence locker where the artifacts confiscated from the cult had been stored years earlier after the police raid. Inside, she was met with ritualistic symbols etched into the shelves and relics stained with blood, pulsating with an eerie energy. At the very center of it all lay an ancient, leather-bound book, John Malum's manifesto. Turning the pages, Jessica uncovered a horrifying truth: the cult had not merely been worshipping the low god. They were actively preparing for its resurrection, using the very police station as a vessel of suffering and death. And now, she realized with dread, the cult's attention had shifted to her. A sharp pain pierced her head, and vivid, horrifying visions flashed in her mind. In them, she stood beside Malum, donned in ceremonial robes, blood dripping from her hands. She screamed, trying desperately to dislodge the images, shaking her head as if that could erase them. "No," she gasped, her heart racing. "I'm not one of you." Yet, deep within her, a flicker of uncertainty ignited. The darkness within was expanding, feeding off her fear, her anger, her insatiable quest for answers. Then the station's power began to flicker ominously, with the emergency lights bathing the hallway in an unsettling red glow. Jessica heard the distant cadence of footsteps, a multitude approaching swiftly. Clutching the ominous book tightly, she knew she had to flee, driven by the urgent need to destroy it before the cult could reclaim their unholy relic. Rushing back to the locked door at the police station's main entrance, Jessica was met with an unexpected sight. The door was chained shut, a barrier she had never noticed before. Panic surged through her as she fumbled with the lock, but the chilling chants of cultists grew louder and more ominous behind her. She understood that escape was dwindling. Her only hope lay in the evidence room's furnace, a place where they disposed of all confiscated items deemed dangerous. Driven by desperation, Jessica sprinted toward it, her heart racing as she reached for the cursed book she had uncovered. With trembling hands, she hurled the book into the flames, instantly watching it succumb to the fire. As the pages ignited, the building shuddered violently, producing a bone-chilling shriek that seemed to pierce the air. The cultists, their chants morphing into screams, were caught in a horrific fate as they dissolved into ash, their dark ritual unraveling in the wake of her actions. Exhaustion overtook Jessica as she collapsed onto the cold floor, hearing the police station release a heavy sigh, as if freed from a profound burden. Just then, the front doors slammed open, and police officers rushed in, their presence anchoring Jessica to reality. She clutched her father's old badge tightly, shaking with emotion. One officer approached her, kneeling down to offer comfort, reassured her, "Officer Lauren, it's over. You're safe now." Yet, as Jessica gazed into his eyes, her heart felt heavy with uncertainty. The echoes of John Malum's voice echoed in her head, a chilling reminder of his words, "I will come back for you and all you love." In the days that followed, while sitting alone in her dimly lit apartment, Jessica couldn't shake the remnants of her encounter with Malum. As she sifted through the remains of the case file, an unsettling unease gripped her. The nightmares persisted every night, filled with agonizing cries and shadowy figures. Whenever she glanced at her window, just for a fleeting moment, she caught sight of a sinister grin, John Malum, watching her, taunting her. The darkness that had claimed her seemed to have found a new dwelling within her, lurking just beneath the surface. The struggle against the specter of Malum escalated in a climactic confrontation where Jessica faced her ultimate fear, the spirit of John Malum and his devoted followers. The cultists persisted, chanting dark, unholy prayers, striving to draw Jessica into their fold by soaking her in blood and declaring her one of their own. Despite her fierce determination to resist their dark initiation, doubt began to creep in, the overpowering aura of malevolence enveloping her. As the film concluded, viewers were left in suspense, their minds reeling with uncertainty. Did Jessica succumb to the insidious cult's power, or could she escape the psychological torment that haunted her? The chilling remnants of Malum's ominous declarations, "I will come back for you and all you love," echoed long after the final scene, suggesting that darkness, once born, never truly dies but rather, evolves and finds new hosts. Malum presents a gripping narrative that weaves psychological tension with supernatural horror, expertly intertwining themes of cult terror, existential dread, and the relentless question of inherited darkness that permeates our lives. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.